All right. So, this week, let's grab some stories here. There's an, I'm seeing a little. There's a little bit of there's a little thing we got going on. There's some wholesome stories, and there's some not wholesome stories.
Let's start with the good shit.
So how about we play a little ping pong back and forth with the wholesome and then the not wholesome? Sound good?
Oh, okay. That's a great idea. Let's do it.
Wholesome. New trailer for Kirby and the Forgotten Land.
It looks
coming
good.
out on March 25th. It's got co-op support. Did you see they were fishing?
I did.
Looks great.
It looks fantastic. I will probably be playing it. I'm the most interested in this Kirby game of any Kirby game in a long time.
I'm very excited to see the transition into the 3D world now that they've tested the waters and Star Allies has been the proving ground, not to mention a couple other little bits here and there. And what I like as well is in that trailer, you get to see like a bunch of fun Dreamland, adventuring Kirbo doing his thing. But then also they make sure to include in the trailer him walking through the abandoned Nightmare Abyss and also walking through the dead cities and forgotten
like he
tundras. Mm-hmm. So you're gonna have some fun Dreamland, and then you're gonna have dead civilizations, and that's all Kirbo. So yeah, Forgotten Land.
It looks like when it goes to the Nightmare Kirbo, it looks so much like Nier Automata.
Kirby Poyomata
unbelievable.
Is about to drop. Make no mistake. And they're gonna I'm just waiting for a Weight of the World cover with
That'd be great.
So that's good times, everybody. Please look out for Kirby and the Forgotten Land coming in March. Not wholesome. Activision fired dozens over harassment allegations.
And there's more coming.
How many?
More. It's fired
40 employees disciplined and 40 others since July. Fired 40 and disciplined 40 as allegations of harassment and other misconduct, according to the reports.
Hey, here's a fun sentence. A summary of the personnel action that the maker of Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, and other blockbuster games was scheduled to be released before the winter holidays. However, CEO Bobby Kotick delayed the release, arguing it would make the company's workplace problems look even bigger than they were known to be. So, good on them for firing these people that they knew about the whole time and disciplining others. However, there's a really interesting thing that I've been thinking about since I sent this article to you, Woolie. They wanted to put out this press release before the holidays, right?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it weird that it's such a clean number?
It caps off right at an exact 0.
Isn't it weird that it's 40-40?
Precisely.
Like a statistician told them that was the minimum amount they had to cut for public relations reasons?
I got another clean number for you.
What's that?
700 reports of employee concerns of sexual assault or harassment or other misconduct over the past 7 months. In some cases, separate reports about the same incident, quoted from people familiar with the situation.
Great.
So yeah.
Hey, do you want to piggyback? No, you know what? Let's wait. We'll wait on the math on the other one. We'll wait on the math on the other one.
But that's okay. All that's said and done. In conclusion, Lego Overwatch will not be happening anytime soon.
People are running their math. 700 over a 6-month period is like more than 3 reports a day every day.
Put that one up over here. All right? Just stick that on the board.
Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind over here, okay?
Put that over there. All right.
All right. You got Wholesome?
Wholesome! The purple PS5 controllers are out!
Yeah, mine's getting shipped pretty soon. I'm super excited. They look great.
Hell yeah!
This is just a consumer slut moment, but dude, I love purple.
Yeah!
And I love those purple controllers.
Yeah!
And now I can have a controller that I say is purple, and no one can fight me about how purple it is because the name of the controller is purple.
If you want to get one of those new color controllers, if you want to get a DualSense, you can get them as of today. That's great. There's also a pink and a kind of minty blue that's coming, but the purple one looks sick.
I want the purple.
I love
purple. It's set for release on the 21st on Friday. I hope I get it soon. I love purple.
I'm a big fan of purple.
It's a good color.
But I like purple. Hell yeah. So everybody,
deep green's real nice.
Go check that out. Go check that out. Get that purple DualSense. That's
It's cool. Called purple.
Yeah.
No one can fight me on this.
Not wholesome.
What's not wholesome?
According to the Google Translate of the headline of this French news website, sexual harassment is very heavy at Ubisoft. C'est très lourd.
I want to point out that the actual article's title is Harassement sexuel du très lourd chez Ubisoft. It's a fairly accurate, direct translation. It's very much literally at Ubisoft, very, very heavy sexual.
Very heavy. Very heavy. Okay. What kind of numbers are we looking at over here?
All right, so there's a lot that goes into this article, and a lot of the articles over at the paywall about how everybody's a fucking pile of shit over at Ubisoft. But there's one number to pull out. There was an extensive employee audit of its 20,000 employees in which you could respond to a questionnaire about the state of sexual harassment at the company. 14,000 out of 20,000 employees approximately responded to this. And of those 14,000 Ubisoft employees, 25% of them says that they had either been direct victims or personal witnesses to sexual assault or harassment in their workplace.
$25.
25.
1 in 4.
1 in 4.
You know, 25% of the people that I know that work there have told me about stuff that they've seen.
Yeah. So that means let's fold it in to the 20,000 number, right? Let's fold that in. At the minimum, 18% of all Ubisoft employees have been victims or witnesses to crimes.
And that's one of those big companies with, you know, as we said, a ridiculous number of employees compared to most game companies.
Yep.
So what you're describing is a tactical assault crime, like Terminator 3 situation, where at all moments in the building, at any given corner, at bathroom, water cooler, there's just these little pockets.
In every single Ubisoft studio, at some point during every single day, there must be some form of sex crime being perpetrated. Either a direct assault or harassment, or the cover-up of said such harassment or assault. Every day. Every single day.
Yeah.
There's also some details in here that I can't quite get to about senior staff. There's a gentleman that is obsessed with wearing kilts at Ubisoft that would routinely force people to check under his kilt that it is a real kilt, aka is not wearing any underwear so that you brush up against the dick and balls.
Of course.
And apparently, I believe they got it's behind a paywall, so I'm getting it secondhand. Apparently, they got fired for selling drugs to the other employees as well. Just straight up drug dealing in the office.
Sometimes, in many cases, 25% can be used to sound bigger than you would think. Let's say you're talking about a group of 8 people.
Yeah.
And you're like, 2 of those people suck. You'd be like,
25% of that group's the pile of shit.
And you're going to be like, damn, right?
That sounds like a lot.
But then it's like, oh, effectively that becomes the 2 out of 8.
Yeah.
But when I'm looking at this and it says that 14,000 of the 20,000, you're operating at such a fucking larger scale, and it's just like,
yeah, let's run some math.
How is it this much worse than previously reported? You know?
Okay, 18% of people at least, probably 25%. Let's say 25%. 25% of people are victims or witnesses. Okay, we're going to assume the people that are victims and or witnesses are not perpetrators. I think that's a fair statistical analysis. Let's say 50% of people don't do or see shit. Okay? What remaining percentage of the company is actively predatory? Is it 5%? 5% of 20,000 people's 1,000 dudes.
What I immediately wonder is kind of like what anyway, because based on the way you put the numbers out, it's kind of like, okay, what amount of this is one incident and then every subsequent level of bullshit obfuscation, defense, move it around, nothing happened here. Like, does that turn 1 into like 10 instances?
So, I'm not a lawyer. Put my hands up. I'm not a lawyer.
Important.
However, the general understanding of my of my understanding of this is that for the purposes of this internal audit, cover-ups don't count. We're talking direct assaults / misconduct / harassment / creepazoid shit.
Okay.
However, in terms of me saying literally every single day a crime is occurring, committing a crime and then taking steps to cover up that crime tomorrow continues the crime forwards.
Mm-hmm.
So, do people see something every single day? Probably not. Once a week, though, yeah. And half of that week is spent by that dude covering it up or telling people to shut their mouth or apparently I think they fired the head of HR who was also involved in burying this shit on purpose. It's the kind of corruption you'd expect from the police, honestly. And to see this in a game developer is pretty impressive.
And it's always at scale, certainly, is the tale of the tape.
It's also it appears to get worse at scale because when like
but that's what I mean.
Yeah, when 50% of the senior staff is a bunch of scumbags that cover for each other, the people directly underneath them can do all sorts of shit and get away with it.
And as you become, like, the moment you hit 1,000, you've become a massive studio, right? Like when you hit 1,000 people working at a company on a game, like you are now a massive studio, and like you have a lot of like systems in place already established at that point. And if you from the early days have one set up to completely disavow any problems, any reports of any things that's happening to people, if you have a system that is all, from the get-go designed to like just shift the blame around and eventually dust it off under the carpet, that yeah, it just gets exacerbated at scale. You know, it just, the more people that join, the more that stays, the more you don't get rid of the garbage that comes in, and the more it just enhances that amount, and then that person is going to have that many more people to be that much of a fucking creepo to. So fresh targets constant, like it's you know, it's an explosive exponential problem.
It's an interesting thing because the video game industry has a relatively unique problem, and that is that people who are in the business tend to burn out conclusively. Like they'll do 10, maybe 15 years of games, and then they leave the industry to go do something else. So there's a lot of lack of really long-term built-up talent, and this is one of those problems. And part of the reason why your studio is even able to function is because there's always new talent burning to get in and make a game or be part of a game, right? And all that. And one of the things that is, it seems kind of useless now, because as much as we complain about Ubisoft, like they're a French company, they're beholden to another country's laws, there's only so much we can possibly do, right? The number one thing that you can do complaining about Ubisoft to, like, hey, that company's just full of rapers and scumbags, is dissuade people from going to work there in the first place. Is making it so that maybe there isn't that fresh batch of targets every single time.
Unfortunately, people need employment, and you know, gigs are gigs.
Absolutely. But there's tons of industries that use similar skills that don't have these exact problems.
Exactly. What it seems like is like for a lot of these cases, we're in the middle of the part where people can collectively be like, hey, don't fucking go work there. Look at this history of trash. People are walking away from it. This place is an awful place to work. You don't want to, you know, like we're in the middle of like these things all becoming well known. And so the incentive is not the only driving factor behind people's decisions to go work at these companies. Like there's these stories are, you know, creating a shift in the mentality. Is what I
like anybody who can
say.
work in games more often than not would also have the ability to go work in tech, right?
Yeah,
yeah. That's where a lot of people wash out of the games business and go to, because they get 9 to 5 regular jobs and their boss doesn't try to rape them.
And if you have passion for the thing, then like, you know, depending on, well, it just like you come in with, you know, again, like starry-eyed dreams of what's going on, and then at a certain point you're like, holy shit, this is, I get the fuck away from this. You know, I have friends who fortunately have been able to like exit Ubi and get other industry jobs, you know, and like see an improvement there. But that doesn't apply to everybody, you know. Not to mention, of course, things like the Ubisoft School, where like you got the education program that kind of like more or less builds people up to learn and practice in a way that's going to fit right into the, you know, the way that their teams are built. And a lot of graduates are every year available to join the studio. It's like by establishing, because Quebec has become a huge center of like, you know, game commerce and industry. A lot of studios popping up, you know, give you a lot of places to go. But Ubi in particular spent a lot of money creating a system where they can always have new employees graduating and joining on a...
What's the name of that thing?
Ubi School?
Ubi School? Okay, so they have Ubi School where they get students in there, teach them how the ropes so they can be hired by Ubisoft.
Pretty much. They're mainly taught like the Ubisoft way of developing.
Okay. Do they have a course on Grand Rapid Orientation Office of Management,
I have
aka
no
Groom?
idea. I don't know what the curriculum.
I heard that. I heard that course was very popular there.
I don't know what the curriculum entails.
You're describing a scab school for grooming employees. like it's a fucking Amazon pipeline to the warehouse.
So the thing about it too is that like what was a common issue even beforehand, before these like complaints and these exposed cases and such, was just the idea that there would be a list of like I don't know, let's say 50 graduates, but there are only 2 positions required. So all the
what
others,
do you got to do to pass?
well, be a good fit, right? So that's exactly it. And then
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
so you can lower and you can lower the amount that they get paid, and you can just it's a whole thing where it's like, all right, well, 48 people are gonna get fucked out of this afterwards. Hope you can land that gig, and then go find a level design gig that it may or may not be available. And then if you wait too long, 12 months later, you got another group of graduates.
That's such a fucking racket.
So
it's such an obvious
that's
fucking
been
racket
a thing in the industry for a while.
You know what? Do you know what? Fuck video games. I want to quote a new friend of mine that I just discovered today. I think their opinion is really relevant here. This is from the talented and smart Raph Grassetti, who says that you can do whatever you want with your life. Video games make a lot more money from idiots and harms the environment a lot more than a JPEG.
Can we squeeze a Wholesome in?
That is the art director of God of War telling you that video games are fucking stupid and you should stop buying them, you fucking morons. That's wholesome. That's wholesome. Stop buying video games. You morons.
I guess if in the context of him coming to defense of Troy Baker is the context for that.
Great about that shit? Paige occasionally, or moderately often, has grand wisdom to share. And like 6 years ago, she told me, and she's always said this, don't you fucking trust anyone who says I'm a storyteller. And sure enough, as soon as Troy Baker is like, why everybody mad at me for NFTs? I'm just a storyteller. My brain just fired off. Oh, there it is. There it is. Oh, she's so right.
I think the level of like what it takes to read the room and still push through with each of these announcements, despite the clear, loud, absolute, universal, like, don't fucking do it, man.
Oh, well, I mean, I can tell you what that is.
Well,
like, with 100% certainty. It's somebody promised me a bunch of money.
Yeah, the incentive.
And I already signed up. And can't unsign up.
Maybe it was too early in the process.
It's too late for me to back down now.
Didn't think of that. That's a possibility.
Therefore, gotta go all speed ahead because I'm not gonna stop getting gigs. What's the worst that'll happen? I'm totally insulated from the consequences of my actions.
Wholesome.
Wholesome!
SNK versus Capcom Card Fighters Clash is now available on the Switch.
That's great. That game is cool.
Yeah, I never thought it'd see the light of day again, but I'm really glad that it's back. It's fun.